Hello soulmates, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be drafting this dress that has a kind of pleats by the side, but before then make sure you're already subscribed to my channel and you like this video. So let's get right into it. First, you want to draft your basic bodice and make sure you are drafting on fold. Then use your tracing wheel to trace the pattern on the other part. Here I'm using a miniature size, so please do take note. You want to draft the bodice to the length you're working with. So I've traced down all my lines, and the next thing to do is to cut out the skirt part and put it aside. So first thing you want to do is to come out from the center front. Here I'm going to be using 1.5 inch, but remember this is a miniature pattern. It doesn't work the same way to work for a real life measurement. So I'm going to come out by from the center front by 1.5 inch, and I'll be connecting that point to the bust point. You can choose wherever you want your style to be. Could either be by the right or by the left. So I'll be connecting where I marked to the bust point with a straight line. Next thing I want to do is to cut that line I just drew. I'll cut it open. Cut it up to the bust point, not more than that. Then next thing I will do is to close my bust dart. By closing my bust dart, I've transferred the dart to that point. Remember I came out by 1.5 inch, and then I cut open the dart and folded my bust dart. After folding the bust dart, you want to tape it down. The next thing we want to do is to draw another line a little bit close to the first line we drew. You can make yours 1 inch away. It could just be 1 inch away from the other point we drew. So you are going to connect to the bust point, and then we'll cut that also. We'll cut it open. We are cutting to the bust point and not away. We are not cutting that out completely. It's still part of our pattern. Next thing we'll do is to fold in our waist dart. We're going to be folding in our waist dart and we'll tape that down. So the next thing you'll be doing is to put another paper underneath your pattern. Please don't allow that little part to fall off. You put another paper underneath your pattern and then you tape it down. So soulmates, the wideness of these two that does not really matter. Just make sure that one is not bigger than the other. The next thing you want to do is to match up the darts. So you're going to be, for the first dart, you're going to be folding from one dart leg to the other, and then you match it up. You make sure they are matching very well. Make sure that they are matching nicely, and then for the second dart also, you fold it up. You fold it up and match it with the second leg. As you can see, it's matching very nicely. And the next thing you want to do is to cut the excess paper. You cut out the excess paper. After cutting, this is what we have. So this, the next thing we want to do is to move our bust dart to, let's say you can make yours 3/4 of an inch away from the other dart leg. So not too close to the other dart, just a little bit. Then you mark to the bust point and then you cut. So the next thing you want to do is to close your bust dart. After closing your bust dart, remember there is still a dart, there is still another dart, our waistline, our initial dart on our waistline is still there, so please don't forget. So the next thing we're going to do is to put a paper underneath and tape it down. After taping it down, remember it was the bust dart that you moved to that point. Then now you can go ahead and fold the first dart leg to meet the second dart leg, and you can cut. As you can see, it's aligning properly, so you need to let it align properly, then you can cut it. So after cutting, this is what we have. So this is what it looks like. Now we'll be going to our second dart. We're going to be cutting it out from the first dart leg to the second dart leg. We're going to be taking it out all the way to the bust point. We'll cut it out. So after cutting, we don't need that part again, so we'll be taking it away. Next thing you want to do is to put a paper underneath that. You're going to put a paper underneath that place to cover up the dart. And then, like we always do, we're going to fold and let it align properly, and then we'll cut. So after cutting, this is what it looks like. So we are done with the top part. The next thing we'll be doing is to alter the skirt part. And for the skirt part, you want to go in from the center front by 1.5 inch like we did for the top part. Remember, this is a miniature measurement. It's not going to be the same with a real life size measurement. So I'm connecting that point to my dart head on the skirt. For a standard size, you might want to come out by 2.5 or 2 inches. It depends. It doesn't really have a standard. It just depends on where you want it to be. You want to make sure that your top and your skirt have pleats going to the same direction. If the pleat at the top is going towards the right, let the skirt pleats be going towards the right. So again, you want to move away from that like I said, this does not have a standard measurement. You can decide to move away by 1 inch, 1.5 inch, then you connect it to your second dart leg. For the first line you drew, you want to cut all the way to the dart head. After cutting, you want to fold in the darts. I'm going to carefully fold in the darts. After folding the dart, you want to tape it down. As you can see, you've moved the dart to a new location, and then you put a paper underneath and tape it down. Then, as always, we're going to be folding in our dart, make it align, and then we'll cut. So if there is an extra paper at the back, you want to just cut it off. As long as it doesn't disturb our dart, is of no use there. So for the second line we drew to our second dart head, we want to cut also. We'll be cutting from the waist to the dart head. And then after cutting, we're going to close the waist dart over there too. After closing, you want to tape it down. So we've also moved the second dart to a new location also, and then we'll put a paper underneath, tape it down, align the two dart legs, and then cut. So as always, you check the back. If there are extra papers there, you want to cut it off. So for the drape in front, you can do this directly on your fabric. The length and wideness of this depends on what you want. It depends on what you want. So the next thing you want to do is to place your curve. For a bigger measurement, you might not be able to use this curve, but you just want to make sure to get a nice curve. Or you could just even rule a straight line diagonally. It will still work. So after getting my desired curve, I will just mark. Remember that you could just make this a straight line. It doesn't matter, it will still bring out the same result. So now I will cut. After cutting, this is what we have. We don't need this part anymore, so we're just going to take it out. So to style it, you just want to fold it like you see me doing in the video. So how wide you fold depends on what you want, but you can do, for a standard size, you can do 4 inches or 6 inches, depending on the size of the person you are making this for. So after folding it like so, you just want to pleat it at the top a little bit and then attach it to the waistline. So this is the finished look. This is how it will look like when you're done. Thank you for watching. See you on my next video.